I am Nitin Gokhale, and we are privileged to have today Professor Ajay Sood, the Principal Scientific Advisor to Government of India, also Chair of the Prime Minister's Council on Scientific and Technology and Innovation, which is a wider body and which sort of does the consultations and of course presents the report to the Prime Minister. Somebody who works across different ministries and leading the transformation of this country into a technological powerhouse, depending on various deep and emerging technologies, and also looking at traditional areas like agriculture, health, and the whole works. So thank you very much for sparing your time and coming here to discuss things with us and tell us multiple things that you're doing. So let me start by asking you to give us an overview of what you do exactly in your office, because it's a wide ambit as I can see it.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. Pleasure to meet all of you. We have two working arms, so to say, of our office. So one is what you said, Prime Minister Science, Technology and Innovation Advisory Council, with some core members and invited secretaries. And in that we have the mandate to really do the brainstorming of where we are in India in science and technology in all the verticals and what are the interventions needed. So under that, since its inception in 2018, we have launched 11 missions. Some of them got launched recently. For example, you might have heard of India Quantum Mission, which is a big mission with good layout, financial layout. India AI Mission, Green Hydrogen Mission. Then we have the One Health Mission, and so on. So all these missions are inter-ministerial. They are not, but they are run by one ministry. Because they make the cabinet note and get the approvals and so on, but it is like a whole of government approach. So that is one arm, and the second arm of our office is Empowered Technology Group. So any technology which is bought by our science or any other ministry, if it is costing above a certain value, it comes to us to get it reviewed before it can go to cabinet, whether it is for non-strategic sector or strategic sector, all of these. And that, so we do our due diligence, we consult experts in confidence, because a lot of these things are not in public domain. So we do all that and give this feedback. So then the cabinet is aware of what is the technical input or the review of this, namely what is the technology, is it the most contemporary one, or is somebody giving us a older technology, because that is not uncommon.
Right.
Have we got the right deal, what are the issues related to IPR and many other factors we examine.
Sure.
And so these are the two things, but in addition, of course, there are many things of our office which I'll come back later.
Yes.
Like we have platforms which is doing academia industry interaction through a platform called Manthan. Then we are contributing quite substantially to taking technologies to rural sector. It's called RUTAG, which was started by Dr. Chidambaram a few years back. So in that we have made substantial progress, and many things which come in our bucket.
Rubric.
So we do that.
No, so wonderful. In fact, you've been in this position for nearly 3 years, or more than 3 years.
Almost 3.
Almost 3 years. You know, you also worked in this sector for such a long time, over 45 years, if I am not mistaken. You've also worked with the Prime Minister's office for the last 15 years, even before you took over this position. So what is it that has changed in these last, say, let's say 10 years of this government or 11 years of this government, and especially after you've taken over, what have you, new things that you've introduced?
Yeah, so actually this is what we are trying to focus in, at least in my term, that whatever we take up, we make a action plan. it is not left at the policy level or at a suggestion level, because we have to also enable ministries, we also have to enable departments to make it happen.
Right.
Because there are many factors. For example, Anusandhan National Research Foundation, which was launched recently to bring new resources into our R&D along with the private sector. Now it involved a lot of interventions and so on, and even its implementation I am deeply involved, because I chair some of the committees and so on. So we really want to have a action oriented planning, and that has to be done based on data. Since I come from a science background,
Yes.
with my 45 or more experience in physics, our idea is very simple. If there is something we have to do, let's gather what is the problem statement, what is known about it, or what we could see. How do we really strategize it?
Right.
Because in my view, the strategy is the most important aspect in any policy making. Because you can make a policy which is very fancy,
Yes.
but if it is not implementable, what is the use? And you can't copy things in this domain.
Right.
That you have to be very clear. Supposing when we were making our AI mission or we are making quantum mission, you can't simply say whatever is happening in one country, we simply say that and we will do. No, because our strengths are different, our weaknesses are different, and our whatever resources we have a different way of dealing with
Sure.
it. So this has to be done as a very scientific
Endeavor.
driven thing. So they say for policy for science, but we also need science for policy.
Exactly.
And I am talking of the second one, because policy has to be embedded in data, in articulation of your strategy and the implementation plan.
Exactly.
All have to go together, otherwise it does not. Some of the things may succeed sporadically, but
Right.
that is not the game.
I get that, because you're approaching it very scientifically, and then ultimately it has to be not just implemented, but it has to benefit or go to the industry.
Yeah.
That transformation or that transfer of technology must go
Yeah.
to the entrepreneurs, businesses,
Yeah.
all that. I have an entrepreneur with me, Kishore Atluri is the president and joint MD of Zen Technologies, which is one of the Indian companies which
Yeah.
started
Yeah.
many years ago. They have their own Indian IP and all that. So I think he would have something to really ask and really get to know from you what you are doing. Sure. Yeah.
So, honor to meet you, sir.
Thank you.
So, what are at the policy level for the country and all, what are the steps you or the government is taking in order to promote the entrepreneurial culture in the tier 2 and village areas? I've been seeing that during my age when we started, if at all you're an entrepreneur, you are always looked down. Okay, it is not a very good thing to get into entrepreneurial and all. So we have been little lucky and successful, but that is where the most of innovation happens in any entrepreneur. What are the steps we are trying
So
to?
let me give you some data, because
Sir.
that would
Yeah, absolutely.
have some. So right now, for the last 10 years, from 2015 or 14 onwards, the number of startups, if you see, has become now from 450, it has become now 1.6 lakhs. Out of that, actually a large fraction, almost 60%, are in tier 2 and tier 3. But what I want to focus is on, in my entire focus in the last 1 year or even more, has been to promote deep tech startups. You would have seen some comments also that most of our startups are, some app driven and so on. I have nothing against it, because they have contributed to economy. They have contributed to job creation. So they have done a very, very commendable job. But if you look at any country's technological sovereignty, That has to be based on deep tech startups, the startups which are embedded in high technology, your innovative ideas, your own IPs, because that's where you make money, because you own IP, your design, your specification and your manufacturing. So it is a whole process. Now in that process, in that domain, about only 10% are classified as deep tech by DPIIT, looking at whether you are doing various technologies in health, AI and so on. There are about 10%, nanotechnology and all. So what does it mean? It means we need to promote that, make it higher. Now you can ask, why is it only 10%? So it is not that people have not worried about it. So what we did, we made a policy document on this after having 230 stakeholder meetings, 230. And we made a policy document and we involved at the later stage DPIIT, because they are the ones to start up. And now we are seeing what are the action points emerging from that. So we find that there are challenges, because deep tech startups need more patient funding. You can't do it in 2 years, that is not possible. Then you need also some capital, venture capital, which is risk taking, which means you need to enable some funds of funds where some confidence is put in that. All that good news is that it is happening. For example, if you look at the startups in defense under IDEX, it's a wonderful example, because they have really delivered and they are all high tech. You look at in BIRAC, again biotechnology startups, are majority of them are deep tech. Now what our goal is, that how do we really take it to other sectors? So even in the recent AI mission, there is a whole vertical of these deep tech startups, and many of these actually are in tier 2 and tier 3, because it is no dearth of talent actually, it is just the opportunities. So what we need to see, we do this, but we also need to see how do we create market for those products, how do we create possibilities that they can sell these things, because when you have a deep tech product, there are not too many buyers on the street. Obviously government will be one of the big buyers. So we have to work on it, we have to work on IPR, where patenting has to be made easy. It can't take 4 years to patent something, now it is changing. So many things have been suggested under that, and our hope is that with time more and more entrepreneurs will come in deep tech. So that's, and there is another thing which we are doing, which I might say it but I may not elaborate. We have a platform called Manthan. So what we do the matchmaking between the people who are having problems to be solved, like in ministries, foundations and so on, but they don't know who will solve them. Then we have a whole lot of suppliers, we call supply side. These are the academic people, national labs, startups, MSMEs, all of them who have technology prowess. So this platform does the matching. So problem statements can be launched, and the supplies people are also there. So it's like matchmaking, you can call it, but it's a very transparent and very well protected for privacy and all. And good news is, I started this in August 22. I took over in April, then I started this. And good news is, in less than 3 years, it's still not 3 years, 8,000 crore worth of challenges are there on the website. Out of which 1440 crores have already matched hands and delivered.
I see. So it's the great beginning to sort of look at this.
1400 crores is
yes.
a very big amount, and most of it is private money.
That's right.
And in that actually, coming to your point, we find that most of the takers is from tier 1. All IITs, nothing wrong, IISc, I come from IISc.
I see, exactly.
So there is no, because they have the culture and so on. So as a corollary to that, this time, last 2 months back, we have started another program called Utthan, UTHAN.
Yes,
It's
Utthan
a
is
nice
progress,
acronym.
basically.
But
uplift.
it is uplift
Uplift.
of tier 2, tier 3. It is a full name.
Right.
In that, we will be making opportunities for tier 2 and tier 3 course. Because we want, and they will not be available for tier 1 opportunity, this thing. So that in the beginning you have to handhold. See, the point is, you simply cannot say, oh, compete, right? Because we have to also build their expertise.
Absolutely.
We have to go to the ground level and see, can we enable some courses for them? So all this we are doing with corporates. So we get, we enable, and good news is, right now in the countries, there are a lot of people who want to help. It's not only government.
Right.
That
Private
is a good
sector is
news.
also coming forward.
Yeah. And they need a reliable, trustworthy, and a honest
Entrepreneur or
program.
Yeah.
And we are, so Utthan actually will address that.
So we will look at that because the way we, like you are saying, I think people should be giving that. Let me come to defense, since you spoke about IDEX as being one of the success stories. I suppose Captain Sharma, he was from the Navy. He's worked in the Navy, has also been a spokesperson there. So maybe IDEX or defense, you may want to
Sure,
ask
I will
something.
come to, first of all, privileged to be talking to you, sir. Coming to the AI mission, which is a great step by the government. Now, the challenge is that everybody, right from the big entrepreneurs to the startups to everybody, they will require GPUs to ultimately reach to the workable AI models. Now, with the Trump government putting sanctions, because for the countries which are with them, the allies, the rule is something else. For the people on whom they are putting sanctions will not be supplied with the GPUs. And there is a third category. So where do we fall and how do we make up our requirements? Because our requirements are far too much. The
So I'll
GPUs
explain
which...
that. I understood.
So this
Actually,
is your comments on it, sir.
So what happens, of course, US policy is also changing with time.
Constantly.
Constantly changing. Good thing is there is nothing constant there. Change is the
Change is the only constant.
constant. So that's a good news.
Yes.
So what is happening in AI mission, which is having 11,000 crore almost financial commitment. One of the vertical is the compute resources, and those compute resources is to make work on LLMs and so on. Now there already MIT, which is the lead ministry, they are working on a model where the private sector will set up the GPUs and government will buy time from them. It
So
is good
lease
for
it,
both.
basically lease it. Lease that
Lease
time.
it and give it to researchers and startups
Okay.
on a very, very
Nominal.
much less than nominal
I see.
actually.
Okay.
It's like a grant.
Right.
What happens with that? Our target was in the mission that we will have 15,000 GPUs available in next 3 years. Good news is already it has exceeded that. We have much more GPUs available than 15,000 in the country. Whatever you are saying about US sanction is a old story from Biden's time, which we were in the class B, where we could go up to 50,000 GPUs and so on. But we have not even reached there. We don't have that as a challenge. In future, if it comes, as you know that we have a very ongoing dialogue with US called Trust. It was earlier called ISET, now
Yes.
it's called Trust, in which this is of course one of the points, and I don't see that would be a bottleneck in coming time. Right now we have enough GPUs available. This is a big change. 1 year back we had only 700 GPUs available in the country with CDAC.
That's
From
wonderful.
700 we have already come to 15,000.
That's wonderful. And you've just launched one AI, Sarvam has been given that.
Yeah, so in that there is a, so what what MIT is doing, there is a mission director, Abhishek Singh, extremely dynamic person. They called for proposals for LLMs.
India's own LLMs.
India's own LLM. Now many people submitted, of course. There is a huge, I mean the expert groups and all that, and few were shortlisted, and then it comes to a committee which is chaired by me and few experts. So there we have recommended few of them. Sarvam was one which was announced, more will come. They will be asked, what is your compute requirement for how many months? Which kind of GPUs? Because GPUs is not just one, it's are many versions or capabilities, H100, H200, all that. So they are being now made available. And more private players now will come who will invest in the GPUs. So that's the answer.
That's a very
But sir,
good.
India's requirement, I'm sure, is much more than 15,000.
See, right now we have to build the appetite. It is not overnight that we need 50,000. It's not the case actually. Because all this also needs ramping up of our appetite. I'm saying already now, because we have up to 18,000 soon, appetite is building up.
Right. So in the next couple of years, we'll see the.
More, not years,
Not even
months.
1 year.
Months.
Okay, months. Okay.
And we have resources
Yes.
in
So
the AI
that's,
mission.
that's wonderful to know, because the government has probably seen the future and is concentrating on that, and you're leading that transformation really.
Mighty, and all of us are involved.
Exactly.
Because as I said, we are catalysts, we are pushers, we are whatever you may call
Yes,
us.
matchmakers.
All that,
Wonderful.
but everyone is deeply committed. And Honorable Prime Minister is deeply committed to this AI technology. You know, he gave a wonderful speech in this AI summit in
Yes.
Paris.
Yeah.
Actually, he defined the complete roadmap for India.
Correct.
Because it's not only compute. What is our policy on data?
Right.
What is the framework? Because we have also learned, which we can talk later,
Yes.
under DPI we have learned techno-legal framework for handling things. UPI, CoWIN, all that has a techno-legal mechanism for really doing all those things.
Right.
Same kind of framework we want to bring in AI.
Excellent.
So AI Kosh has been launched
Yes.
1 month back by Honorable Minister Ashwin Vaishnav ji.
Yes.
And data sets are being put there, private sector, academies, and all, because they can't go to every ministry every second day.
Exactly.
We want to be available,
It
and
is
that's what is happening.
centrally available.